Good evening, everyone. Um, I want us to do this question on analytical geometry. It's question number 3, and as it is indicated in the diagram below, or filler diagram. So, and they also gave you 4 points, which in this case, our sketch or the sketch ABCD, they said is a parallelogram. Hence, they say these are the 4 points that are given are the vertices of the parallelogram ABCD. Diagonal AC and BD bisect each other at point P. One thing we mentioned is that when you have diagonal lines, you must always remember what diagonal lines have the same midpoint. And the angle of inclination of AD and BD are alpha and beta respectively. Then line AD cuts the x-axis. If you check here, we have line AD. So our line AD cuts the x-axis at point E. And therefore, F is a point in the fourth quadrant. Point F on the sketch, but they draw point F somewhere here. So meaning that F, this point, is point F, and it's far from the sketch itself, but they said that F is in the fourth quadrant. Now, if we check, if you go to the first question with the aid of the sketch, of course, now it says that determine the gradient of line BC. Where is line BC? This is our point B, and this is our point C. So when they say determine the gradient of line BC, it means that we have to understand for a BC, it's a line, and B is a point, and also C is a point. So we have got point B and point C. And on point B, we are given the coordinates where the x is 4 and the y is 8. But on point C, we are given x as 5 and y as 0. So in order for us to answer question number 1, where it says determine the coordinates of BC, so we must write the gradient, because it says the gradient of BC. So our gradient of line BC is the same as change in y, change in y, which is y2 over y1 minus x2 minus x1. So this will help us to find the gradient of a line. Now, the value of y2, we can pick any. Either we can say it's 8 or it's 0. It doesn't matter. What matters is that if you start with the point of B as y, it must also start with the point of B as x. So if we say that we have 8 minus, and we take C, the y of C is 0, then we say 8 minus 0 divided by the x of B is 4, then we say 4 minus the x of C, in this case is 5, then we say minus 5. At the end of the day, we have 8 divided by negative 1. In this case, it means that the gradient of line BC is negative 8. So the gradient of line BC is negative 8. Now, once we get this, we go to the second equation. Second question says, if the distance between A and B is root of 65, calculate the value of K. So they mentioned something like a distance if the distance between point A and point B is root of 65, calculate this. Meaning that here is our line, here is our point A, and also point B. So we are looking for they told us that the distance between these 2 points is root of 65. It means that from here up till that point, we have root of 65. Already they told us that this is a distance. So it means that where we see D, we are going to put the root of 65. Now, number 2, we know that because we are looking for the distance, we need a formula. We need a formula. Therefore, a distance formula will be D is equals to root of x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So, but they mentioned that the distance of this line AB is root of 65. So it means that where we see D, we are going to put root of 65 equals. Now when we substitute, we are going to choose which value represent which value represent X and which one represent Y. So if I say that my X is 4 minus into minus 3 all squared. This is for B, this is for A. Plus, then we have 8 minus K all squared. It means that in this case, the global root of 65 equals root of 4 minus into minus 3 is 7 squared plus 8 minus K all squared. Now, because of this, we're going to square both sides. Why do we square both sides? So that the square will cancel this, Rashalaka 65. And this one will cancel that. Rashalaka again, 7 squared plus 8 minus K all squared, which in this case will have 65 equals to 7 squared is 49 plus 8 minus K all squared. When we transpose this to this side, Roshalarnal 65 minus 49 equals 8 minus K all squared. Then what is 65 and 49? The answer must be 16. The answer is 16. Then 8 squared, 8 multiplied by 8 is 64 minus 16K plus K squared. But from here, it means we can just write this in a standard form, where it's K squared minus 16K plus 64 equals to 60. Then we take this to this side, it becomes K squared minus 16K plus 64 minus 60 equal to 0. Therefore, our K squared minus 16K, 64 minus 60. Then we have 40 minus 6 is 8. Then 48 is equals to 0. Now, we're looking for the factors of 48 that when added together, they will give you 60. If we say if we say, for example, 8 times 2 is 60, but 8 times 2 does not give us 48. Okay? Now, what we can do is that we have 48 by 1, then 24 by 2, then we have 12 by 3, then we have, this is 48, no, this is 46, no, 12 by 4, sorry, not by 3, by 4. Then it means that if I add these two values, I will get 60. So meaning that k in bracket equal to 0. The other one is 4, the other one is 12. But the bigger number takes the sign of the middle term. This is also negative. Therefore, k is equals to 4 or k is equals to 12. Let me check. 48, negative and negative, yes, is 50. But then now we are going to check for a. Already we know we have positive 12 and positive 4. But if you check this point is below 8, it means that it can't be 12, but it must be k is equals to 4. So meaning that the coordinates here, point A is negative 3 and 4. Now, that is how you calculate the distance between 2 points. If you are given already, if you are told that the distance of a line, but you are looking for an unknown variable. Now they say, prove using analytical geometry methods that PB is this line. This line is given a PB. They say is perpendicular to AC, is perpendicular to this one. So meaning that the two lines meet at 90 degrees. So once you see this, prove that these two lines are perpendicular to one another. It means that we must know the gradient of this and the gradient of that. So it means that here, on number 3, we are looking for the gradient of BD that must multiply the gradient of AC. The answer must be -1. Whether we're saying that the two gradients, they meet at P, but as long as the gradient of these two lines can give us -1, it means that PB is perpendicular to AC. So now let's check. Is Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Then let's change an ink. Then equal multiply by Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So for line PB, it means that we have our Y is 8 minus into -4 divided by 4 minus into -2 multiply by, then this side rabale AC, which is 0 minus 4 over 5 minus into -3. So if we calculate this, the answer must be -1, and the answer must also be -1. So now this is the same as 12 over 6 multiplied by -4 over 8. The answer must be -1. So when we calculate this, we can see that 12 over 6 is the same as 2 multiply. -4 over 8 is the same as -1 over 2 equals to -1. So when we multiply the two numbers, 2 will cancel 2. What is left is -1 is the same as -1. Therefore, it means that BP is perpendicular to AC. And this proves that angle P, each and every angle on angle P is equals to 90 degrees. That's what it means. So if we are talking about angle P, you can choose whether you say APB, this angle from line AP to B, this angle is 90, this one is 90, this one is 90, and also this one is also 90. So this is how you show that the two lines are perpendicular with one another. Now, let's check another question. It says calculate the coordinates of F if it is given that ACFD is a parallelogram. ACFD, then it means that there's a line which comes there. So a new parallelogram is this one. ACFD is a proof that AC. Okay, calculate the coordinates of F if it is given that ACFD is a parallelogram. Once they say it's a parallelogram, it means that the two lines are parallel, and also the two lines are also parallel. Therefore, if we know the gradient of this line, we can know the gradient of this. And then we can also find the gradient of this because it's the same. Once we get the two equations, we'll be able to calculate the coordinates of this line. Therefore, on number 4, we are going to say line CF. Line CF is parallel to AD. That is the first thing. CF is parallel to AD. Therefore, we can look for the gradient of AD, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And therefore, this means we can say 4 minus into minus 4 over minus 3 minus into minus 2. So minus 3 is this one because I started with 4. Therefore, my answer will be 8 over -1. 8 over -1, which is -8. So we know the gradient of line AD, and we can conclude that therefore the gradient of line CF is also -8. We can also conclude by saying that. And then again, we can find, because we know the gradient of this, we can actually find the equation of this line, because we need the gradient and one point in order to find the equation of this line. So if we say y is equals to mx plus c, then we take this point because it's on this line. Then we have 0 is equals to negative 8 into 5 plus c. Then the answer here is that we have 5 by 8, it must be 40, because 5 by 4 is 20. Yes, it's 14. We have got 40, which is negative, plus c. Therefore, c is equals to 40. Now, once we have this, we know the value of c, therefore we can say y is equals to negative 8x plus 40, which in this case is our y, which was our equation for CF, equation of CF. And then again, we can also calculate the gradient of AC, the gradient of line AC, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then we said this is the same as 4 minus 0 over negative 3 minus 5. Then we have 4 over negative 8, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. So the gradient of this line AC is negative 1 over 2. So now if we have that gradient, we can simply say y equals to mx plus c. Then we pick one point on that line. We can still pick, now because we're looking for the equation of this, why did we use this? Because the gradient of these two lines is the same. Then we say negative 4 equals to negative 1 over 2, and the value there is negative 2 plus c. So negative 4 is equals to 1 plus c, then c is equals to negative 5. Y is equals to negative 1 over 2x minus 5. So now we take this equation also, we equate it to that. So the first one says negative 8x plus 40 is equals to negative 1 over 2x minus 5. We group the like terms, negative 8x plus 1 over 2x equals to negative 5, negative 40. Therefore, when we add this, it's going to be 7, 1 over 2x, which is negative, equals to negative 45. So what is this? This is the same as 14 over, this is the same as 2 multiplied by this is 14. 14 plus 1 is 50 over 2, which is negative x, and then equals to negative 45. Because they are both negative, we are left with 15x over 2 equals to 45. But this is the same as 15x equals to 90, because this will multiply that. Therefore, x is equals to 90 divided by 50. So the value of x, if we simplify it further, the value of x will be positive 90 divided by 50. Let me check through my calculator. Let me check through the calculator. 90 divided by 15. The answer is 6. And then we take this 6, we substitute it into one of the equations. We can say y is equals to negative 1 over 2. And then we equate it to negative 5. Negative 5. That is our x. It means that we have got y equals to negative 1 over 2 into 6 minus 5. Y is the same as negative 3, because this is negative. This goes 3 times, minus 5. Then our y is equals to minus 8. Therefore, our coordinates for f is 6 and negative 8. So that is the end of the... Oh, let me check if we still have other questions relating to this. Okay, now it says calculate the size of EDO correct to 1 decimal. Now let's check what is EDO. EDO. It says EDO. We're looking for this. Is it EDO? Let me not contradict the questions here. EDO. Oh, EDO. Sorry, that was a mistake. So EDO is this one. We are looking for this angle. So we want to know how much is this angle. If we can know how much the angle is, then it means that we'll answer the question. Okay. Now let's check size of EDO. So we're looking for size of EDO. Now let's check. EDO is an angle that wherein we can say this is a an alternating angle to this. It's an alternating angle to that. And if we said that this is 90 degrees and this line is the same as that line, this one is the same as this. So we know 90. And then if we know 90, we can find this one. And beta by means of vertically opposite angles. Then from there, we find alpha, which is the exterior angle of this small triangle. Then alpha minus this angle plus this angle. Then we can simply say, let's find it. I don't know whether we found the gradient of AD now. But if we didn't, we can look for it. Then ranyakale the gradient of this line, BD. The gradient of line BD. The gradient of line BD. So if we know this, if we know the gradient of BC, which is this, we know the gradient of AD because the two lines are parallel. Let's just check. Line BD. Yes, our line BD, because we got the gradient of line BC. So if BC is negative 8 and AD is also negative 8, I think it's one thing that we found here. Somewhere here, AD is negative 8 also, because the two lines are parallel. So we know the gradient of this. It means that tan of alpha is equals to the gradient of AD, which tan alpha is equals to negative 8 plus 180 degrees. Why do we put 180? Because we have a negative value here. Okay, sorry, let me not put it right at this stage. We can say now alpha is equals to tan arc -8. Immediately when you say arctan, then you must put 180 degrees. Then that will give us the value of our angle. So unfortunately with me, I don't know my calculator, but you can calculate and check how much you have. So we know this angle. Now we can also find the gradient of we can also find this one. Then I think somehow we found that if this one is 8, then we can find the gradient of this. And then we can say the gradient of BD is equals to 8 minus into minus 4 over 4 minus into minus 2, which in this case is 12 over 6, is the same as 2. Now we know the gradient of line BD, which is 2. Then we can say tan beta is equals to the gradient of BD, which is tan beta is equals to 2. Then because we are looking for beta, we can say tan arc of 2. Because it's positive, we don't put plus 180. Like I said, I don't have my calculator. You can just check how much the value is there. And then from there, because we know, because you are looking for EDO, and this is the exterior angle, this means that EDO is equals to alpha minus beta. Then that is your answer there. Now let's check if we still have more questions relating. Calculate the area of ADC. ADC. Here is our ADC. Then ADC. Then you got the area of this triangle. So now we know the length here is a root of 65. We know we can find the length there. We can find, we know this angle. We know this one. We can find this. We can find the length here. We can find the angle there, and we can also find the distance. Therefore, we will use those two sides. Okay, so let's skip this one for today, and then we'll see it next time. Thank you for your time and keep well.